You're tuned into the It's Real podcast with your hosts, Kayla and Andrew Yagi. Each week, we'll talk about what happens behind the scenes working full-time in real estate and share with you real-life stories, our successes and failures as we work to help consumers and industry professionals reach their real estate and real-life goals. Here we go.
It's episode 47 of the It's Real podcast. I'm Kayla and I'm a mortgage lender.
And I'm Andrew Yagi, and I'm a real estate agent.
Hey, Andrew Yagi, how are you?
I'm doing really well, Kayla. How are you?
I always call you Andy Yagi, Andrew Yagi. That's how you are in my phone, in my life. It's never Andrew, it's Andrew Yagi.
Either way is good. How was your Memorial Day, Kayla?
Good. We had some nice weather. We had friends at the lake and graduation back home. We went to Pembina. All my family was there. So it was a jam-packed weekend and we had some sun and it was just like the official kickoff. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much summer left. Thank goodness. So it was really great. What about you? How did you spend your Memorial Day weekend?
Well, doing a little bit of real estate and then quite a bit of time with family. We were out seeing some friends out on the lakes. Help some of my lake buyers who have been looking for quite a long time finally get lake property under contract. And then we have a new development on the south end of Otter Tail Lake, the Norwood development, where they have 14 lots out there, have that listed for sale and had an open house. Speaking of which, even though you were nearby, I didn't see you at the open house, Kayla.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was mowing the lawn. It takes me an hour to mow that beast.
Made Taryn mow it and should have swung out.
He was doing other stuff. He's got plenty to do. I take the weight off him there. But
isn't that the problem? Like coming to the lake is, trying to like actually enjoy it when really half of the time or more you're really doing work.
Yeah, but I will say there's something about like, we're on our computers all day and we're on our phones all day. It's so nice just to like when I mow, it's relaxing. So it's a riding mower. It's not like a push. So it's fine, but it's very like calming. I don't know.
I'll agree with you a little bit. A couple of years ago when I was, jumping into real estate, or actually starting 4 years ago, I decided to kind of hire out my lawn just because I just said something had to give. And, we've had someone that's been doing our lawn up until now. And then he kind of retired, an older gentleman. And we don't have a rider right now. We've got about 0.6 acres, but we actually pushed it a couple of weeks in a row.
Wow.
And actually it was kind of enjoyable. And kind of, Katie and I kind of split it a little bit. And so that's something we may do going forward just for get your steps in.
Yeah, maybe that's like the farm family in us, like both of us coming from, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like it's like nostalgic in a way. So, it's just a nice break from like the computers and everything too. So I don't mind it when it's that, but if like my husband's having me do like trim and stuff like that, not for me.
For sure. What's going on in the Fargo-Moorhead real estate market this week or in the Kayla FIBT office command center?
It was a busy weekend of real estate. I had 3 accepted offers between Sunday and Monday. People were, working deals over the long weekend, even though it was a holiday. So we have had quite a bit of activity of accepted offers. We've seen applications slow a little bit, but we are seeing a lot of conversion. So the people that have been looking are closing, the deal to say, hey, I want the house, and they're moving forward. My team had quite a few closings in May, and we've got, I think, 13 for June. So people are buying. People are taking advantage of the market, and we're seeing it pick up, whether it's, in the conversion or the applications. It kind of just ebbs and flows a little bit.
Sure. So, very cool.
How about you? What are you seeing in your area, Andy?
Yeah, so we're seeing, certainly more activity, more properties come on the market. Again, the properties that are really desirable and priced right, I think, are going really, really quickly. Even some of the maybe slightly less desirable homes are ones that might need some work. If they're priced right, they're moving pretty well. There's still, I see just a little bit of a disconnect once in a while between sellers and buyers and where they think the market is, especially on the sell side. People are still, and again, we haven't seen any home values drop, and we've still seen a little bit of appreciation, but some people are maybe a little aggressive in their pricing.
Yeah.
and those particular homes are sitting. So no, things are going well. We've actually sold quite a number of lake properties recently, have some more coming on the market. Everybody wants to be at the lake, Kayla.
Everybody does, and they go quickly. I don't know if I told you, but my husband's family sold his cabin finally.
Oh, they did?
The Lida cabin is sold. So, I mean, when it gets to be May, people are like, I want to be at the lake. And so we always see lake properties. They traditionally don't sit that long. But what I'm also seeing right now, and maybe you are too, is I've got these clients that are like, well, I don't know if I want to go up to asking price, or, hey, this is our offer. It's so important that your lender breaks down what a $2,000 difference in a price can make for your payment. Because I had some clients this weekend that wanted to walk because they wouldn't budge for about $2,000. And the difference it made in their payment was like $15. And so I really strategize with clients and say, is it worth it to walk away? Or do you guys want to continue to shop? You guys have been shopping for 9 months. Do you want to continue? So I think it's important too that as you are negotiating and talking through with your spouse or your realtor or your lender, that you have that information, because I would hate to see someone lose their dream house or the house they want, even if it's an investment property, for $15 a month difference. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm seeing a lot of that too, where people are always so shocked that they're like, oh, I thought putting 10 grand down more would impact my payment much more. And it's like 70, $80. So if you are kind of one of those people that are on the fence, chat it through with your lender and your realtor, because you just never know how it could work out for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. No,
Are you seeing that often?
I am. I'm seeing, people are all over the board today. So it's kind of, I always say I'm surprised on both ends of the spectrum with how quick some homes sell and how, some that I would think would go quicker, are sitting around a little bit longer. Yeah. But, even we've seen, like I just closed one on Friday, 21,000 over asking price in our market. Wow. And we just had another one that I got accepted where we were quite a bit under asking price, like about 70,000 under ask, and we still got it.
Really?
So kind of interesting just to kind of see, but again, a lot of different factors go into it. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting, or it's been an interesting year and going to be an interesting summer, but I think things are going really well, Kayla.
Good. And I think that we'll see things pick up here again. Like it usually is busy until like the 4th of July, then it backs off and then it gets busier again. And then towards the end of the year, it slows down. Depending what interest rates do, I'm very curious what the rest of the year will show. Because we're almost halfway through it. We're almost halfway through the year.
So what's your prediction, Kayla? Right now, in the end of May, what is your prediction for the rest of the year?
I think that we will see rates drop, but I think it's going to be more towards end of year, like November, December.
What about activity?
I think that activity, it's hard for me to answer that, because it's like, is it activity for me and like the way my team works, or is it activity in general? But I think that I still believe people are going to say, you know what, I'm sick of renting, because I keep hearing stories left and right about, hey, my rent went up. Hey, they're now charging for this. They're now charging for that. As landlords, obviously they're going to have increased expenses. But I think clients just want that control. And I think that in the next few months, we're going to continue to see applications and people saying, I want to own my home. At a closing this morning, and the client was like, it's just so nice that now I can have a dishwasher that works because my landlord never fixed it. Not all landlords are like that, obviously, but they want that control. So I think we're going to see more applications come through and more people getting approved.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think rates will drop by the end of the year. I think it's going to be a gradual drop. At least that would be the hope. Yeah. Who knows? It'll obviously the election is going to probably influence some things, but I think we're going to see, a consistent, steady level of activity. I think it's going to ebb and flow a little bit through the year. Or through the remaining part of the year, in that, we're going to have some really busy times and it may slow down a little bit and so on and so forth. But I think, at least in our office, I think it's going to be a pretty strong year.
Yeah. Well, you got a strong team and you guys are growing, and you guys are creating your brand and helping people, getting video out there. You're doing so much for your clients that I think, the strong will survive no matter what happens.
That's right. And same with you, Kayla. You guys are doing a great job. And so, like I've told you in the past, just thinking back to when you were working at the Walmart branch of Choice Financial on 13th Avenue in 2005, when we were starting at NDSU all the way to today, I look at just your growth in banking and, now into mortgage. And I think that's really, really, really awesome. So I think you're going to have an exciting year or so ahead as well.
Let's hope so. I told my mom you brought up the Walmart branch. She laughed hysterically because she's like, I forgot you worked there, you poor thing. Yeah. Like I got to witness a lot, and that's how I grew my backbone, was put a bank in Walmart, and that's how you teach someone to sink or swim.
Hey, that was a different day. Like I feel like Walmart was maybe a little bit more decent at that time. Today, going in there like 2024 might be a little bit more challenging.
Someone put on like Facebook or something the other day that they should put like a bar above Walmart with like all you can eat and all you can drink, so that you can just like sit and watch people all day. I'm like, I'd maybe go. I'd maybe consider it.
For sure. People of WalmartBar.com or whatever.
Can we bring our dogs? That's the only thing that's missing.
Sure. Kayla, what are you seeing in mortgage rates this week?
So up a little bit. We got a alert to lock this afternoon. Rates went up just a smidge. You can see 7.34 for a 30-year fixed. If we look at FHA, it's under 7, so that's great. I closed a loan at my closing today. The client was at 5.5%. We're still seeing options for first-time home buyers. The ability for you to get into a home depending on the income you make. But I'm seeing people, when I go to lock their loan, they're not so like, what, 6%? They're very much like, okay, it could be worse, because we have seen where it's pushed up to nearly 8. So they're stable, they're steady. We're seeing around 7.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, like we say, how things play out the rest of the year and where we end up. I know I still so much talk about rates. I mean, I think a lot of people have reserved themselves to the fact that, hey, if I'm going to jump in, this is what it is. Let's go. But there are still some people that are, a little hesitant or, I'm going to wait till rates get to 5% or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I guess in some of your clients' case, they're already there, but that's kind of an extreme situation.
Yeah, well, I'm even refinancing people right now that they bought back when rates were at their high point, and I'm refinancing them right now, knowing that rates could drop even more. But I've got one client, we're saving him about $400 a month, and we're refinancing him in a different program. He started here, some things have changed, and we know that rates could change again. And so he got his brand new build. He got in the house. We're going to save him money, and we might refinance him again. We don't know what's going to happen. So
that's awesome. Well, and I think in today's day and age, and some people are probably listening thinking, wow, you're nuts, to be refinancing already and the like. But we obviously can't predict tomorrow, and hey, $400 is a huge savings. Yeah. The other piece I look at too, Kayla, and I had as I was kind of looking through some real estate news a little bit earlier, I came upon this article talking about, again, home insurance. And I know we've talked about homeowners insurance so much, but this article really struck me just because I know, a lot of people talk kind of begrudgingly about, their insurance premiums and their increases. But this article talking really about how it was a must, but now a lot of homeowners are going without, or they're rolling a little bit. And this particular article talks about a family out in California that, their insurer totally left the market, and they really weren't able to find new insurance. They got a quote, that came in at over $10,000 a year, and that was just bare bones coverage. And then others just for bare bones coverage, $17,000 and $25,000. Mm-hmm. And so just talking about how some people are saying, hey, enough is enough. Like, I'm going to roll the dice. What do you think about that?
Well, in my world, you have to have insurance if you have a mortgage. Like the mortgage, the investor will require you to. But we know people that own their and they could be in a specialty product where maybe they don't. But we're seeing, increases constantly, and it's impacting, their payment. It's impacting their debt to income. And so often the mortgage lenders put under the microscope of, hey, what's your rate? When in reality, there's so many other things that impact it, like mortgage insurance, whether it's, hazard insurance like the State Farm, or the monthly mortgage insurance if you don't have 20% down. But I think it's just another sign of our economy. It's another sign of these natural disasters that are happening, that's what's causing this increase. I think it's scary as ever to go without insurance. That blows my mind. But when you're thinking 25,000 a year, what you could save, I mean, some people can't afford it. I mean, it's the truth. So
Right.
what do
Absolutely.
what do you make of it?
Yeah, no, I think I think something's got to give. I think, and I think a big part of it, it has to do with the fact that the economy has been, just propped up. So many areas have been propped up, or just out there floating and have been doing so for so long. I think that, there needs to be some sort of correction at some time or another, even in the real estate realm, looking at home prices. And, as I'm going to look at homes every day for people that, might want to put them on the market, and kind of looking at what they paid for them and what it's worth today. And it's just kind of crazy, where the marketplace is, just really across the board.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, what do you do? I mean, do you kind of just sit and wait? I mean, I can't imagine being in a situation where insurance was that much, but when I think about these, tornadoes and these wildfires, it's like, someone's got to pass along the cost. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely.
And landlords are doing that too. Like we talked about, offline, was landlords are now sending that to their renters. You know what I mean?
They have to. When they're seeing double-digit, insurance increases, someone has to pay for it.
Yep.
It really does create affordability issues. Even, in the case of renters, they may be better off buying a home than, staying in a rental situation.
Right. And I think as I talked this morning to a group, it's like every single person has a unique scenario, and every single, whether you're buying or you're renting, it may make sense for you to rent. It really might. It might make sense for you to buy, but that's why I always encourage people is compare the side by side. And it's not just numbers, it's emotions too. And, I had clients last week that were like, I'm just so glad that we have a yard for our kids now, that our kids can play. And it's like, what's that cost you? Like, what does that cost you? You might have to pay more for a mortgage, and you might have to pay property taxes and insurance, but what's it worth to you? Or some people love to rent because they don't have any of the maintenance, but you're taking that gamble that things could increase because, I've heard people say that now that they're getting charged for water and sewer and City of Fargo and all these things that they weren't before. At the end of the day, it's kind of what kind of gamble do you want to have? Because now look at insurance with people. I mean, that's
right.
Another thing that can impact affordability, which is really sad, but that's why we're here to educate.
And some people are thinking, boy, you guys are really depressing me. You're talking about all of the bad stuff that's going on in the market. So how about a positive, or how about something more lighthearted, Kayla? Maybe not a total positive, but maybe something lighthearted. I came across this article as well where it was talking about it was a bad real estate deal, not a bad meal deal, that killed Red Lobster. Are you a Red Lobster fan, Kayla?
No, I grew up in Walhalla. I ate fish sticks with mayonnaise, so no. How about you?
You know what? I kind of was, especially their biscuits.
Oh yeah, they're cheddar biscuits.
Yeah, so
I'd go there, order chicken, and get the biscuits, but not the fish. Anyway,
you're not a seafood fan at all?
Not really. I like salmon and I like canned tuna. I just, again, Walhalla. I don't know. What about?
Well, didn't you ever go to Grand Forks or something and go to like Red Lobster for a treat? Or
no, we went to McDonald's every single time. Every single time. So we weren't as cool as the Yangi family.
Well, anyway, so looking at this article, so a lot of people have seen Red Lobster in the news lately, kind of talking about the all-you-can-eat shrimp deal and how that's killing Red Lobster, and they're filing for bankruptcy. But it turns out, Kayla, it wasn't the all-you-can-eat meal deal that was the killer for Red Lobster. Rather, it was real estate. So Red Lobster basically sold out to a venture capital group, Golden Gate Capital, in 2014. And so I think they bought it, it said, for like 2.1 million. And out of that, they sold, 2.1 billion. And they sold all the real estate to another group for 1.5 billion and then leased it back. So, okay, so they got rid of, all of their real estate. They're leasing it. The triple net lease was absolutely killing Red Lobster, apparently, which actually led to their bankruptcy. Now you can eat shrimp, but kind of an interesting little real estate time.
It's interesting. So are they going completely under? Because I saw this was just May 29th today. Are they closing down, or are they just filing?
Well, they're filing for bankruptcy, it looks like, and then they're closing dozens of locations. I hear the one in Fargo is still open. So maybe if it stands the test of time, maybe we can meet and have some chicken and cheddar bay biscuits.
Good old Red Lobster on 13th Avenue. I tell you what. Oh, maybe one day.
Kayla, one other thing that I want to talk about today, and I'm hearing from more people kind of hearing some of the news and that there are some big changes coming in real estate. And we've talked about this before a little bit, and some people were not fans of us discussing this, but there are some real changes coming probably by August. There's still some Department of Justice involvement, so whether or not it comes to fruition by then, really, we're starting to see a lot of real estate agents leave the field. And is that good for home buyers? And so, some of the new rules pertaining commissions, buyer representation are really probably going to be shaking up the industry. So we've talked before, Kayla, how, there are just this last year, there were 1.5 million licensed agents out there. And, just the fact that 70%, 49% of the agents out there sold 0 to 1 homes. 70% of the agents sold 5 or fewer. So it's the 30% that are the most productive.
Right.
So a lot of agents are looking around. And so here's a great example in this article, Kayla, when it talks about April Strickland, who's a real estate broker. She looks at her market in Gainesville, Florida. She sees a mismatch. Industry data shows that only a few hundred homes are sold each month, yet there are more than 1,500 local realtors. 1,500 realtors for a couple hundred homes a month. That's crazy. So she goes on to talk about how she's seen the ups and downs of the housing market since 95. But then the past 2 years is the most challenging she can remember, even slower than the years following the 2008 financial crisis. And a lot of agents out there are going broke and they're running out of money. And also we talked in the past, because of all of these agents and many of them doing little to no business, it's actually increasing costs for homeowners, especially as it pertains to the high level of incompetence that's out there. What do you make of that? And how do you apply it kind of to our market?
I think that I always say the cream always rises. I think that the same is applied to mortgage lenders. We've seen people that it was so incredibly busy for years. I mean, we couldn't keep up with phone calls and people weren't getting, calls back from lenders because lenders were just inundated with apps. If you had a pulse, you could make some really great money as a mortgage lender and provide subpar service, just bare minimum service. I think the same is applying to real estate now as well for realtors, because if you have a pulse, they say, yeah, you can go and do what, get your license as a lender or realtor. I think what's happening, or what will happen, is that the cream will rise, that the people that are incredible at their job, the realtors that are providing the value and education and the empathy, they will be just fine and they'll probably get better. I remember being, in sports in high school, and when we played against teams that weren't awesome, we kind of lowered our standards a bit. But when you played against, competitive teams, you increase your push, your motivation, your will, and your skill. And so I think, again, I could be wrong, but this is just my feeling, is that yes, we will see people leave the industry, realtors and lenders alike, but it will just make room for such a higher standard of the way that we treat our clients and the experience that they have of buying and selling a home.
I like that. I think that's really well said, and I think that's what people need, and they deserve it. It breaks my heart when I hear some stories, and I hear about the experiences that some people have, and largely because they worked with their cousin's uncle's brother, who's an agent but really isn't an agent. So there's just widespread incompetence out there, and I see it on the lender side too, Kayla, where some individuals, groups like what is it? Wholesale Mortgage, UWM. Yep. So there are a lot of individuals, even some in the financial realm, that, oh, hey, I'm an offer mortgage too. And just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should do it. Because again, we've seen some very, very challenging things, but just a really interesting article, just kind of showing how, ebbs and flows of agents and brokers. You can't see on the site, obviously, I'm being remarketed too. I search for a lot of pilot related stuff too in my browser.
I love that.
So anyway, I think just know, Kayla, that there are a lot of changes that are coming, especially as
Yeah.
it pertains to how agents are compensated, and
Mhm.
also the requirement for an agent to even show you a home.
Yeah.
And so we've finally gotten to the point, Kayla, where we work mostly with sellers and very select buyers, the ones that want to work with us and we want to work with them, and the ones that are willing to come in and visit with us and kind of go through the process so we can ensure our mutual success. But part of that going forward as well, Kayla, is that in order to even take, if everything goes into play as it's supposed to
Mhm.
in August with some of the changes that are coming to our industry as a whole, for us to even take someone through a door, it used to be, hey, you know what, maybe Kayla, I'll come out. You don't know me from Adam, so you maybe don't want to come into my office, but I will meet you at the property, build some rapport with you, set up a consult to my office. Now we're not even allowed, if everything goes through in August, to even show a property without having an agreement in place. And so one thing that we're starting to do at our brokerage is we have just a single property buyer broker agreement, just really allowing us within the confines of the rules to show an individual the property that they want to see and maybe not commit them to us as an agent if we're not the right fit for them, and is very, very simple, easy to understand. But just know, for those that are watching this that are buyers, or even those that are selling, that there are changes coming this fall, and so all the more reason to kind of connect
Mhm.
with your realtor of choice and also your lender of choice to kind of put a plan in place and to educate yourself as well.
I love that that's one page. I love that it's solid, it's clear, because now you can show homes without that representation. So going forward, it's required that if you're showing a home and if you want to view a home, that you need to sign that with your realtor, and realtors, you need to get that as well.
For sure.
Now, are people still showing homes without pre-approval letters?
I think a lot of people are showing homes without pre-approval letters. I mean, you would probably know better than I do, as those agents are calling you and saying, "Kayla, we just looked at a house. We want to make an offer. We need a pre-approval letter."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still seeing it quite a bit, and I'm like, I'm kind of shocked, but I don't know if that's just kind of some people I've dealt with, but it's happening multiple times. So I wonder if this will shift that a little bit. Like, maybe not, but let's have this sign. Let's make sure you're also approved, because that would help with the experience as well.
Yeah, I just think, like you say, I'm looking forward to some reform in our industry,
Yeah.
just because I think that it's gonna, again, the cream will rise to the top,
Hmm.
and then people are going to be working with some of the brightest and the best that are out. And we have a lot of great agents in the marketplace, but we do need a little bit of reform too once in a while, Kayla.
I agree. I think this is going to be if all goes through, this is going to be good for the industry in general. So
I think it'll be a confusing couple of years for the consumer.
yeah.
And so it's going to affect you too as a lender. It'll affect us, but hey, we're going to get through it, and we're going to just keep trucking forward and helping people reach their real estate goals.
Amen. Cream always rises. That's going to be the topic of this episode, I think.
It will. Kayla, are we gonna see you out around Lakes Country this weekend?
Yes, you will. I'll be out there. Will I see you flying over my lake in your plane?
I'm not sure if I'll be flying over, but I think I'll be somewhere in the neighborhood. I really have to come over, swing by and see your guys' place.
Yeah, come over and say hi. The dogs miss you.
I'm gonna. So,
Make it
very
happen.
good, Kayla. Well, I think that puts a wrap on episode 47. Great connecting, and hopefully we'll cross paths this weekend. But until then, have a great rest of the day.
I will if you will. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.